Alright, today we're going to replace some missing bungs in the deck of a Hallberg Rassy 34, and we've probably done 5,000 bungs over the years on various decks of Hallberg Rassys. Here's what you need to do this job is you need a drill, and we use a 25/64 inch drill bit. We find that gives us just the right interference fit with the bungs. You need a T20 bit. You can either chuck that up in a cordless screwdriver or just use a screwdriver, but a Torx T20 bit to remove the old screw. You need some 10mm teak bungs, preferably ones with a chamfer on the edge to help start them. We cut these ourselves on a drill press using a 10mm bung cutter. A saw to cut the bungs flush, which is much easier than using a chisel, and a little sandpaper just to smooth it over after you've replaced it. So the first thing we do in this process is we remove the old screw. You can see in the deck we've got a handful of bungs that have come out. They've just become too thin over the years, and so we remove the screw. Again, if you're doing a lot of these, easiest thing to do is chuck the T20 bit into a cordless screwdriver and just zip them right out. Here's what the screw looks like. It's a very thin head screw that Hallberg Rassy used. The important thing is to realize that this screw doesn't have to go back in. The screw is only put in there to hold the teak plank in place while the adhesive rubber sets up underneath it. And one misconception is that the screw prevents water from going into the deck. One of the things that happens if you look at the side profile of a teak deck on the Hallberg Rassys is the screws are about here. They go just into the fiberglass, and there's closed cell foam underneath them. So even if water were to go through the screw hole, it's not going to bother anything. There's no place for it to go. The closed cell foam doesn't absorb any water. So again, there's no reason to put the teak back, the screw back into the hole once we've countersunk it. So the first thing we're going to do is countersink a nice deep hole. And the trick we've learned over the years is, with our drill bit, is to square it up with a hole. But don't start off in a forward direction. Start off going in reverse. If you start off going in a forward direction, there's a good chance you're going to tear out some of the sides of the hole. So we square it up nicely and start in a reverse direction until we get a little bit of dust and a little bit of smoking. And then we've got the hole established. Switch to a forward direction with very light pressure. Very light pressure, keeping it squared. We go down right to the fiberglass until we just start to see some white gel coat. Next thing we do, we blow the hole clear, or if you have a shop vac, you can clean it out with a vacuum. Just getting the debris out of the hole. Next, we take the new plug and we line up the grain, and I just tap it in with the end of a mallet. It gets just the right amount of interference fit. Tap that down until it's hit the fiberglass deck nice and thick. That's never going to come out. The other thing that'll happen is it'll swell up. The bung isn't very dry now. It's been sitting inside. So as it absorbs moisture, it's going to swell up. Now to cut it flush. So best thing to do is get a decent angle. We've got a very thin, fine kerf saw. You can get these at just about any hardware store. This one's called a Shark Saw. They're about $12 at the local hardware store. Nice and thin. It allows us to get it flush on the deck. I hold back, push down with the finger back here, go across the grain, and just cut that rascal flush. So, you can see it's just about smooth. Finally, I'll finish it off. I happen to have a Hot Wheel here. Wood block is a little better, but this will do. And this is about 60 grit sandpaper. 60 or 80 grit sandpaper is fine. Just a couple swipes, nice and smooth, blend it in. With time, that'll all silver up. That's never going to come out. Very thick bung. So again, if you get it all set up, remove the screws. It takes less than a minute per bung, and you can replace 20 or 25 missing bungs. Don't put the screws back in. Interference fit with between the new bung and the hole, and it goes very quickly and does a great job.